what I would propose is, at the moment, I launched this petition to see what the public interest was. I obviously have my own opinion, and I feel that between Castle Street and Duke Street, it's quite a narrow road. It's a busy area, quite congested at times. It's obviously a shared space, which includes children and vulnerable people. And as it is a shared space, I feel that there needs to be a bit of respect there towards others who maybe have health problems. Obviously, young people have underdeveloped lungs, and the people who are smoking in that area, it's sort of funneling down that street and being breathed in by everyone.
And when did you decide to start this petition?
So I think it was about a month ago now.
And what has the response been so far?
I've had mixed responses. To be honest with you, some surprising responses from that I didn't expect from people that do smoke. Such as there was people there that say they do smoke, but they don't appreciate secondhand smoke, having it wafted in their face. I've had people comment saying that when they were younger, they were walking down the street and were burned from passers-by with cigarettes in their hands. So I just think it's something that government should reasonably look at now.
And what's the next step? So how does this petition work? So you're gaining signatures at the moment. You've got coming up to about 450.
Yeah.
What's the aim, and then what do you do after that?
So I've not really been pushing it, to be honest with you. I just set up a petition very quickly. It took me 5 minutes to type up and launched it online.
And that was for more general interest?
Yeah, that was just to see if it was just me that was thinking along these lines, or whether there was other people out there that had the same mindset as me. I was very surprised how quickly it gained traction. And I've just shared it on Facebook primarily, but I've not been out standing in the street getting signatures or anything like that. I'm sure if I did that, I would get a lot more, but it's already creeping up to 500, and even that in itself, I believe, deserves a response from government, or deserves to be looked into at least.
So, do you have plans in motion to take the petition to government?
Yeah, so I'm thinking leave it probably about another month, and then whatever the outcome is in the amount of signatures, I hope to present that to the Chief Minister, and I'm going to speak to a few other elected members and hopefully get some conversation going.
I mean, looking at the comments just before, it is full of positive things. A lot of talk about children not, inhaling secondhand smoke and whatnot. Have you had any negative comments at all?
I have had negative comments, and to be honest with you, I've got to the stage where when people are quite abusive, I don't give them the time of day anymore. If someone wants to sit down and have an intelligent discussion, a respectful discussion, and they disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. But I'm not going to take any kind of abuse. As soon as that happens, I switch off. I have had some very nice comments which have disagreed with me, which is absolutely fine. Some people give me some different ways in which they think they could change the street, as in change it to a no smoking zone, but then have the roads that come off that, which you've got the likes of Granville Street, you've got Howard Street and Regent Street there. They all have benches on them at the moment. So I've had people say that maybe those could be smoking areas for people. But then at the same time, I've had people saying, well, what about me? What if I want to sit in that area and I don't wish to breathe in smoke? So I think the key word here is compromise, really.
You're so right. I mean, compromise is key to pretty much all situations. But I find it difficult thinking, how do you compromise when you're outside and smoke can just waft down the street? Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I mean, I've looked at a lot of research online in different countries, such as the European Council, and every other country I've looked at, literally, you've got Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Finland, France, Italy. They've all got tighter restrictions than us.
Why do you think that is?
I think the Isle of Man just probably are behind the times again, and they're stuck in their ways. They haven't looked into it, or maybe it's just not been brought up. Of course, it wasn't so long ago they changed the legislation on smoking indoors, in restaurants, in cafes, and more recently in cars. One of the feedbacks I had on my proposal was, how are you going to police it? Well, how do we police the current legislation?
I mean, I'm not a smoker, so I could just not be aware at all. But in terms of smoking indoors, the transition seemed to be fairly smooth. I didn't really see a massive kickback from it from smokers. So, I mean, I think maybe people know that it's a health issue, and it affects other people's health. So maybe that might make people a little bit more willing to be open-minded about this sort of thing.
I hope so. I am a little bit concerned as well, because I obviously don't want to be saying to people, I don't want you to smoke, I want to ban smoking altogether, because I believe that if you want to smoke, that should also be your right. If I want to go and buy a packet of cigarettes now, I would like to have that right too. I don't smoke, but I would like to know that if I wanted to, I could. But it's about being respectful of others around you. And even when I did smoke, I would never light up a cigarette in a crowded area with people around me. I was very aware of and respectful of others. And I think people are more, the data's out there, it's been out there a long time that smoking is bad, we know that. But I think people are so stuck in their own lives, in their own little bubble, that they're just not looking around them these days.
Do you see this being successful? Do you see the Isle of Man following in the footsteps of, all those European countries that have tighter restrictions on smoking in public areas?
I don't see why not. I mean, I think it would be hypocritical of the government not to, because they're talking about going carbon neutral, the air being cleaner. They're talking about the waters, the beaches. We've got beach buddies. We've got the biosphere, Isle of Man. So we are aiming towards a cleaner, healthier place to live for everyone that shares our island. I think this is a big part of it, and it affects us a lot more now than directly than like the climate change does, for instance, which of course we're working towards. But I mean, I can't walk down Strand Street without getting a mouthful of cigarette smoke. Now I've got some figures there on, I think it was last year, the calculated World Health Organization, they found that 1.2 million people died as a result of passive smoking. That was last year. 1.2 million, that's a lot. So